Good afternoon, everyone, and happy New Year. I think it's still valid for us to wish people happy New Year. I think the deadline will be around March or when, I don't know. Welcome. My name is Richard Neno, working here at Nature Kenya as Budding and Membership Officer, and I will be the moderator of today's virtual talk, which will be presented by Dr. Veronicah Ngumbau. Feel very much welcome. I encourage each and every one of you to remain muted so that we give our speaker ample time to exhaust her presentation. And also just to let you know that this presentation is recorded, and later on we will share in our YouTube channel, so you can always visit there whenever you want to. And also, I will encourage each and every one of you to raise the questions through the chat box, or if you have any comment, any question, any concern, and the speaker of the day will strive to go through all of them after the presentation. So to open our virtual talks for the year 2024 is today's topic, which is biodiversity value of Chasimba rocks and associated conservation challenges. As I said before, this talk will be presented by Dr. Veronicah Ngumbau, who is with me here in our Nature Kenya studios. So who is Veronicah Ngumbau? Allow me to just take you through a short bio before welcoming her on stage. Dr. Veronicah Ngumbau holds a PhD in botany and currently serves as a senior research scientist at the National Museums of Kenya, where she spearheads initiatives in botanical research and biodiversity conservation. In her additional role as head of the training session in the botany department, Dr. Ngumbau is instrumental in fostering capacity building programs and advancing conservation education. She is a committed conservationist who works closely with local communities to develop and implement sustainable practices for the conservation of biodiversity and endangered plant species. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome our speaker, Dr. Ngumbau, on stage. Welcome, Veronicah.
Thank you, Bernard. So my name is Veronicah Ngumbau. As he has said, I work for the National Museums of Kenya. I am a conservationist, a lover of nature, and today I will give a presentation on some of the activities that we've done in Chasimba and Pangani rocks, which are nearby. So we will share some biodiversity values that the area holds, and we can have a discussions on where is the conservation going, and where we are and where is our conservation going. So welcome. So since I'm a botanist, my presentation will be more biased on plants. The topic is about biodiversity values, but you allow me to be more biased on plants and not the other taxers. So the topic of presentation is species diversity, conservation priorities, and sustainable management challenges in Chasimba rocks, which is part of the coastal forest of Kenya. So Chasimba rocks is located in Kilifi County in the south part of Kenya. It's part of the Kenya coast, one of the fragments of the coastal forest of Kenya. And as we all know that coastal forests are part of the larger Eastern Arc and Eastern African coastal forest. And Chasimba rocks is located in Mariakani Kaloreni Road on your way to Kilifi. Just off the road, on the road you are able to see the Chasimba rocks, as you can see in the map. And also I added another fragment which shares similar ecological features as Chasimba, and they also share species similarity. And therefore, if we are talking about Chasimba, whatever is going in Chasimba is also likely to befit Pangani rocks, and that's why we included it today in our today's talk. So there are have a biodiversity significance, and they have been designated as biodiversity hotspots. For a region to be designated as a biodiversity hotspot, it usually has to have more than 15,000 endangered and threatened species of both plants and animals. And according to a study which was done to look at the richness of biodiversity in the tropical areas, shows that coastal forest of Kenya hosts largest number of species per 100 square kilometer. And this really shows the importance of these small fragments that we will be talking about today. So these are just images and drone images of Chasimba rocks. The first photo on my left is Chasimba rocks. You can see it's just very small limestone vegetation. That is, from the photo you can see already the threats. People are doing farming and all that. And the other one is Pangani rocks, which looks quite well maintained as compared to Chasimba rocks. Yeah, next. Yeah, so this is when you get into inside the rocks, this is how it looks like. A lot of activities goes in there. You can see a local community also practice their culture inside the rocks. You can see on the second photo on my right, these are cultural activities that goes in there. They perform their rituals in those rocks. There are plants, very unique ones that grow in the crevices, in the rock crevices that cannot be found elsewhere in this world. So it's another photo of us just doing some surveys of some of these plants. And also you can see they are very attractive and people just go to have a view or a tour in these rock crevices. Next. So I'll just talk more about the endemic species that are found in the region. And the coastal forest of Kenya has over a recent study that we published, myself and other research scientists, records that says there are over 89 species that are only found in the coastal forest of Kenya and are not found elsewhere. In Chasimba, we have about 5 that are only found in Chasimba and they've not been recorded elsewhere, including the African violets, a recently discovered new species that we call Premina madine. It's also found in Chasimba, among others. Threatened species, we have over 120 species in the coastal forest of Kenya that are threatened. And we have one that is extinct in the world as we speak. And of these 120, 50 of them are found in Chasimba rocks. So you can imagine the diverse and the richness of that tiny fragment that is just found in the middle of highly populated community. So we've discovered new species in the coastal forest of Kenya recently, and the first one is Adenia. It's from the family of passion fruit. For a very long time, this species was confused to the very close relative that is in the same genus. But after a careful and meticulous morphological analysis, we found that it was quite distinct from any species that has ever existed. And therefore, we published it as a new species. And this one is distributed mostly in the south coast and part of Tanzania. It's quite safe for now because most of its population is found in Shimba Hills, which is a national is a national reserve, and it's protected by the government. The other one is a very close to my heart species that we discovered in 2021, very recent discovery. We called it Kinondoensis because we first recorded it in Kaya Kinondo. It was in a population of one with only 3 mature individuals. It confused us with other members of in Euphobias, the genus of Malotas, and because protons in East African protons have never been found to have opposite leaves, but after molecular work, we just realized that the closer relative of this species is found in Madagascar, and therefore it might be a possible oceanic dispersal that it's found in Kaya Kinondo because it does not have any closer relatives in East Africa. And a lot is being done about this species because with its fewer population, we were worried it might go extinct before even the world knows about it. So we've been on a journey to protect it and even to map it, that I'll talk about as we move on. Yeah, so a recent study that was done by scientists from Kew shows that 6 species has compounds that are working better for antibacterial reactions, and therefore the activity shows that it's a better they perform better than most of bacterial drugs that we have. And because the study is still ongoing, and we've already discovered a new compound from this species. And the question is, could we be getting a better drug from this newly discovered species? Yeah. We also discovered this one from Chasimba rocks itself. It just grows on the rock crevices. We called it Zeneria monocarpa. It's from the pumpkin family. We call them cucurbitaceae for some of us who are not botanists. We called it monocarpa because of the distinct characteristic of having one fruit in the leaf axil. So you can see from the photo, you have a fruit from every leaf axil. So, and that's why we call it monocarpa. Good news about this species is we've been able to map it elsewhere other than Chasimba, and it's kind of safe for now because we've seen it in Kaya Mohaka, and there are rumors that it might also be found in Meru. I've not seen the collection to confirm whether it's the one, but there are rumors that it's occurring in Meru. So it might be a little bit safe, but because it's found in other locations that are not experiencing a lot of threats. We also discovered, I think in 2022, we also discovered Premna madime in Chasimba. This is strictly Chasimba species. And then after we discovered it, we realized that it was, initially it had a population of 5 mature individuals. When we went back for some surveys, we found that the local community had cut it down because they had extended farming to its habitat, and we only had only 1 remaining mature individuals. This worried us, and we decided to start a journey to map it. And it's unfortunate because so far we've only found 12 mature individuals, and with Chasimba being proposed for a mining site, we are worried this one will be wiped out. So we went ahead and modeled to see where else can we shift this species to with the support of the National Geographic Society, who funded the work. So we tried to map. Unfortunately, the most suitable habitat for this species is still Chasimba rocks, the current, as you can see from that map. the highest suitability is just around Chasimba rocks. And we are still thinking of how to save it. But now this is what we have as we speak. So what are the threats that now that we've seen how rich the area is in terms of plant diversity, what are the threats that face these two localities that we are talking about, Chasimba and Pangani rocks? You can see the local communities, its habitat is highly threatened by farming, because as we speak, we just have the rocks now. They've farmed around the rocks. Anywhere where they can do farming, they've cleared out. And therefore, most species are being driven into extinction because of these actions. So most populations of some threatened and many threatened species are being cleared out in Chasimba and Pangani, as you can see. And again, the bigger elephant in the room is the mining. Why should license the Mashujaa mining company was issued a license by NEMA to do mining or to convert that place to a mining plant. And now this means that it's going to be sad for the diversity, for conservationists, and for everyone who is interested in the region. Next. So with that diversity, you would want to ask us, so what have you been doing as a conservationist, as a scientist, to better understand what is the richness of these regions? So for every threatened species, I've been trying to, with my team, we've been trying to work on conservation protocols, and we look that are designed specific to a species and the need. For Croton kinondoensis, because it had very few populations, we started by mapping its location to see if we can find it elsewhere. Fortunately, we found it in Kayawa, Kayadiani, and some part of Kilifi, which is almost near Chasimba. We thank God for that. And we've also developed a seed protocol and propagation protocol for this species, so it's easy to propagate it. And we've made this information available for conservationists, so that anyone who is doing any conservation work around coastal forests, they can just use it to propagate these species and restore them back into where they are supposed to be. We've also modeled for Premna Mwadime the suitable habitats under the effects of climate change, so that we see where can these species be shifted to in face of climate change. And also when we face calamities such as that we are facing right now, the mining issue, where else can these species be propagated? So basically, this shows that these are the conservation actions that are species specific. Okay, next. So we've been working with the local community to restore some of the degraded areas in Pangani and Chasimba. So you can see us here working with the local authorities and the local communities to start to restore back the degraded areas in Chasimba and Pangani. We've also started nurturing our younger generations so that they understand what is happening and they start contributing to conservation. And therefore, we've had activities with the local schools in Kambe, which is just very close to Pangani, and in Chasimba. So these are just some of the activities that we do with them on the site. We are creating awareness to the local community. We are telling them the values of what they have in their private lands, in the nearby forest and how they can conserve it. And we're also listening to their needs so that we work together to conserve the species in the coastal forest of Kenya, particularly Chasimba and Pangani. We map the three species together with the local community. So while we are in the field, we try to show them the distinguishing characters so that they are able to map in our hub center, and they collect them and they propagate them in the nursery that we've established there. So this really shows generally us in the field trying to show morphological characters of some of the target species that we were targeting for propagations and restorations. So we've established nursery for CBOs in Pangani and a part of Mohaka, so that the local community can raise or they can propagate some of these threatened species so that we restore back to where they belong. So they've been very cooperative in working with us and managing the nurseries and also looking for the targeted species. So we've been also working with them and cooperating with them in these kind of activities. We set an apiary for them so that we can at least promote their livelihood. Most of them, they depend on this forest to raise their income. And therefore, we wanted to support them at least they have an alternative source of income. And yeah, we set an apiary in Pangani Rocks so that, and with a group of, I think, around 20 people, a CBO. Yeah, so we are also doing this with them. So what's next for Chasimba? See, with the issue of mining license, this means that Chasimba will just be converted to a mining site. And we're just here thinking like, well, what happens to those beautiful species? That some of them could be a drag to the next pandemic, who knows? What happens to all the efforts that conservationists are put towards conserving some of these species? What happens to the local communities who have been relying heavily on some of these forests? So this is a big question that we are all asking ourselves. I don't have answers for it. Perhaps someone do, but so far we are here, and it's the big elephant in the room. Next. So in conclusion, we've seen that this place is very rich in plant diversity. The recent discoveries shows that the area is a potential for also or habitat for undiscovered species. If we discovered species last year, it's possible another species might be discovered tomorrow. So it's still a potential area for undiscovered species, and the area is highly under threat. And we might, very soon, we might be speaking of species that are going extinct if these activities goes on. So I want to appreciate some of the donors who have funded activities that we've been performing in the Chasimba and Pangani areas. I'll first appreciate National Geographic Society for supporting the mapping of the Premna Madime and looking at where in future can we shift these species to save it. I appreciate Mohammed bin Zayed Species Conservation Fund. They funded the conservation of Proton kinondoensis. Appreciate WWF. He funded the activities that we are doing with the local communities. British Ecological Society funded activities that we were looking at threatened species and how unsustainably are being used by the local communities. So as I finish, I will want to remind us of my favorite quote from Wangari Maathai, that we as a person, as a people, as a nation, as a conservationist, we are called to assist the earth, heal our wound. In the process, we heal our own. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Veronica, for the insightful presentation that you've taken us through. So I still encourage each and every one of us, all our audience, thank you very much for your time. I heard that you have any concern, please raise them through the chat box and we will be able to go through them. Now, I see some of the questions in the chat box, and one is from Margaret Vass, and she's actually asking a question from Canada. And her question is, what made you choose to go to Chasimba Rocks to do your study?
Yeah, what made me choose to go there is because I discovered a species from there, and I knew if I don't do anything, it might go extinct before the world knows about it. And that's why I decided to go there. Again, I've worked at the coastal forest of Kenya, and I've realized there's most endemic and threatened species, and it's one of the small fragments that holds large numbers of threatened species, and that's why I've been working there. Again, it's a very beautiful place. It has a very good working ambience. Yeah, the coastal, environment. Yeah, and that's why I decided to work there.
Great. Margaret, you've had the driving force behind why Veronica decided Chasimba. There's also another one from Bozo Change. This is more of a comment. Good presentation so far on Chasimba Rocks. Thank you very much for that. There's a question from Joyu, and he's asking, can you ask the presenter what are her thoughts? Why Chasimba and Kenyan coastal forests have this high diversity of plant species?
Okay, why Chasimba has high diversity of species? Generally, coastal forest hosts half of Kenyan species, the total number of Kenyan species. So more than half are found in the coastal forest. Would say perhaps because of its ecology. It encourages a lot of different species to occur there. Yeah.
Oh, great, nice. So there's another question from Njoroge Laban. What is this one species that has gone extinct in the wild?
It's Kigagaroma. It's in the family Lamiaceae. It's found in Kenya and Kenya coast and Tanzanian coast. And in Kenya, they've not seen it. And according to IUCN, it's extinct.
It's already extinct.
It's already extinct in the world, in Kenya. Yeah.
Quite sad. So still, John Kimeu is asking, is the site protected?
No. One thing that I'm sorry to say that I forgot to say is that Chasimba rocks and Pangani rocks are private land. Yeah, they don't have any form of protection.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that's good. Ochola Franklin is asking, what economic activities were the locals engaging in before you engaged the local community?
Mostly they were doing charcoal burning. Yeah, so there was a lot of logging. They were also, because if you've gone to Kilifi and coast generally, you find that they build their houses using phytos. Yeah, and now most of the time they cut these phytos from the forest and they sell to other people. So they were engaging a lot in logging for charcoal burning and also cutting trees for charcoal burning and also cutting trees down for construction. Yeah.
Great. there are questions that are really streaming in through the chat box, and much our audiences for airing them out, because our speaker is really very. This number one from Jeffrey Okundi. Specific strategies in your team employing to manage invasive species while promoting the restoration of native ecosystems, particularly in areas heavily impacted by human activity?
Okay, thank you, Jeffrey, for your question. What they are doing specifically, we've not encountered any invasive or not notorious species around Chasimba so far, but there are efforts of making some invasive species to use some invasive species such as Landana camara to make the coal for charcoal, so instead of to use it as to make what do we call it? The alternative of charcoal. The charcoal briquettes. Yes. There is that plan to start using invasive species in making charcoal briquettes. And in that case, we'll have dealt with two problems. The first one will have dealt with the cutting down of trees for charcoal, and again, we'll have dealt with the invasive species.
Okay. His second question is, how is your team addressing the challenges posed by climate change, such as shifting species ranges or altered environmental conditions, in your efforts to control invasive species and ensure the long-term resilience of restored ecosystems?
Come up again, please.
Okay, he is asking, how is your team addressing the challenges posed by climate change, such as shifting species ranges or altered environmental conditions, in your efforts to control invasive species and ensure the long-term resilience of
yeah, like I said in my presentation, the shifting of the habitats for some species have been done, and what we are planning to do is to restore or to shift those threatened species from the areas where they are facing threat to a safer areas. But now the bigger challenge is, as you've seen, most of the limestone areas is not a big environment or does not hold a bigger area in coastal forest, and therefore it's a big challenge because we don't have more limestone vegetations where protected limestone vegetation where we can shift our species to. Yeah. So mostly from what we have modeled, our species are still suitable even in future in the areas where they occur, but it's unfortunate because the area is too tiny and we don't have a protected area with similar ecological characteristics where we can shift our species. And that's why I said we are facing extinction if we continue with our way of life. Yeah.
Quite insightful. Thank you very much, Veronica, for the very excellent responses. I still encourage our audiences to keep, putting their questions to the chat box. And also, this is also an opportunity for you to interact with the speaker on one-on-one. So if you feel maybe you would like to verbally give your comment or ask your question, you can raise your hand, and then we'll give you an opportunity to ask the question directly. So still going on with our question, our chat box. Millie Oulo, excellent work. Thank you very much, Millie, for the compliment. And one question from David. The first map, it showed a line called the Kingdom line running through East Africa. What is this line, please? And what does it mean?
Which one?
I think it's taking the first map. Yeah, right there.
No, it's just showing. If it's talking about the dotted line.
Dotted line.
Yeah, it's just showing where the eastern arc forest cuts across, because it's not only found in Kenya but also in the whole part of East Africa, in Tanzania, in Malawi, and in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
I don't know. And if he's talking about the black ones, just showing the border between the land and the ocean.
Yeah, that was actually his question. Nancy, over.
Excuse me, the dotted line probably indicates the difference between eastern coastal species and the influence from the west, more related to the Congo Basin. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Thank you, Fla, for the input. Okay, thank you. Going on through the chat box, and as I told you earlier before, you can also raise your hand, and we'll give you an opportunity to just raise your question directly without coming in through the chat box. So Nancy Mauga is complimenting that it is a wonderful presentation. Peris Kamau, very informative presentation. Elizabeth Jenga, great work and presentation. Keep it up. There's one from Ivy Ngiru. With agriculture comes the challenge of agrochemical use. What is your opinion on the impacts of agrochemical displacement, e.g. spray drift on these species?
Mostly, I would say they would affect more of the entomology side of the species. And also when that is affected, of course, the pollination of the other plant species will be affected, and therefore I think it will slow down the formation, or maybe it will affect do I say the fertility of the species, and therefore, if the insects are not as much, there will not be cross breeding of this, and therefore it will affect the number of fish population, so repopulations of these species in the area. Yeah, great. The chemical use of which in the coast they are not as much. What most in Chasimba, most of them they do is once they clear a certain area and the yield is not as much, they shift to another area. Yeah, that's what mostly they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. There's a question by David Kalama. How do one access the seed propagation protocols for the threatened species?
Yeah, we've published them and they are available online. Yeah, and if you cannot find them, they can just reach direct to me and share.
Thank you. So as we continue the presentation, Madam Veronica will be very happy to share her contact so that maybe you can actually reach out to her should you need more information pertaining to anything that she has presented. Elizabeth Kamande, good presentation. Ciro Masinde, great work. Thank you very much for all these compliments really coming in. Barbara Onyango, such an informative presentation. Thank you. There's another one from Ivy Ngiru. How do you think our land tenure system in Kenya can be improved to enhance the protection of biodiversity? In this case, the rocks are on private land, so one cannot quite dictate what the landowner does.
Yeah, that is the problem that we have. But with the archaeological findings that are recently ongoing and that has been found, there's a possibility of showing the value of these rocks, and therefore the government taking the mandate to protect it as a natural site, heritage sites. Yeah, but now we need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that these archaeological sites, that Chasimba is an archaeological site, therefore,
I think it actually relates with the next question from Nancy Mauga. Since the land is private, what can you do in order to engage the Kenyan government in conserving the area?
It's just creating awareness and showing them some of the diversity values that the area has, and helping us come through, perhaps to help protect the area. We can only show what we have discovered
Yes.
in the areas and create awareness to them.
Okay. Geoffrey Okundi, a great presentation, Dr. Veronicah. Wambui Ndegwa is asking, was the modeling for Mwadimei only done on coastal? Is it possible to find other suitable areas other than coast, e.g. vicinity of lakes like Turkana or other non-freshwater lakes?
From how I've interacted with the species so far, it might be quite difficult because it loves rocky vegetations and limestone vegetation. And we only worked on it at the coastal area because we wanted to immediately provide a solution for the species after the area was proposed for a mining site. So for now, we never looked at because of the resources that we had, we were unable to look if it's available elsewhere. But as we speak, it's just the coastal forest of Kenya. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Dave Hilliard, in response to Fla's response, I think that will make sense. Thank you, Fla. Another one from Margaret first. Will the community benefit from encouraging biodiversity tourism rather than mining? I think of places like Marafa, Hell's Kitchen have increased tourism and income to the local community.
Sure. Yeah. But now, yeah, the community are willing to do that. It's just that I didn't have good photos to show the tourists have been done in Chasimba and Pangani, but they actually are happening and they are taking place. But now with the mining, it's not our call. It is
doing everything.
Yeah. We've tried to do everything to show them the value and of the both locations, and as it is, we don't know how things might turn out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vincent Wanga, excellent work, Dr. Veronicah, and Anthony Aluvale, a great and informative presentation. Hapa Tongubo, we appreciate your efforts. This info is critical, but I really hope it was to be considered in development. What it means. Well, we have gone through all the questions that came in through the chat box, and this particular point in time, since we still have some minutes within our time frame, I will give our audience the opportunity to raise their questions directly. Maybe you can just raise your hand and then we'll give you the opportunity. Or if you still, better still, you can still keep them coming through the chat box. So the floor is open to anyone as of now. And just raise your hand, we give you the opportunity to go ahead. Hi, Leonard. You wanted to say something? Leonard Newton?
No, I can't. Share screen.
Okay, thank you. Yes, okay. Yeah, there's a comment here from Joseph Sanga. Maybe Fla can share how Endemic has tried to address mining issues. Yeah, it is really very crucial. Fla, will you take us through?
So when Nature Kenya sees a project that might affect biodiversity, we usually write letters to NEMA, and we wrote letters to NEMA objecting to the cement company mining this land. NEMA seems to have only partially listened. They gave a license to the mining company to mine the site, but saying that 6 acres around the Mawe Meru, I don't know exactly if Mawe Meru is the same as Chasimba Rocks, those 6 acres would be protected, would not be mined. It seemed to us that this was insufficient, especially since there are caves below the rocks that would be disturbed by the mining. The EIA had also suggested moving the plants, or the wildlife, but as you say, this is a unique habitat, and they can't really easily be moved to anywhere else. Anyway, NEMA gave the license with the 6-point-something acres protecting Mawe Meru itself. Nature Kenya has since written to the Ministry of Mining and Blue Economy, saying that the sites along there, the ones named by the National Museum as the Kilifi Caves, which I think includes the other site you mentioned, Dr. Veronicah, the Pangani site and Chasimba and a couple of others, that those sites should be, mining should not be allowed in those sites. We have not received any reply. So, but I think if all of you could talk to your local press or your local, someone in your community who has a voice, and tell them that this site needs protection. If we heard more voices in favor, that might be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Fla, for elaborating on that. At least, approaches have already been done, and we really look forward to a positive response from them. And indeed, as you've said, we need more voices in this. When we come together, we are able to do great things. So we also encourage our audience, our all our audience who've attended this particular talk today to also echo their voices out there and spread the word. Thank you very much, Fla, for that. Also, still in the chat box, I can see Kemoi Emmanuel. A very insightful presentation, Dr. Veronicah. Thank you. And Dave Hilliard, very wise and encouraging words. Thank you, Fla. Yeah, so we're still open to any more questions from our audience. If you can raise your hand and we give you the chance to ask. The floor is open.
But I'm not very hopeful. I mentioned what we tried to do, but I think more needs to be done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, more needs to be done, but at least, the steps have already been taken. So, yeah.
Now we know more from this talk. We are better informed, so thank you.
Yeah, at least, the presentation has really been open. So that's good.
Ceci has a question.
Okay. Ceci, you have a question?
Yes, I do have a question. I hope I'm clear.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so what I was wondering is, apart from the plants that we're talking about that are critically endangered, that one is already extinct in the wild, what about the animals?
Yeah.
Do we have any that is endangered? Or do we know of any?
I said, unfortunately, I will be more biased on plant because I'm a botanist. But from the look of our environment looks, there could be reptiles that are maybe perhaps endemic to there or even threatened. I'm not sure, but looking at the literature review, nothing much has been done on the reptiles animal part of the research, and therefore maybe if there is a zoologist in this meeting, they need to do something about it.
Okay, so that means it's a call for a thorough biodiversity survey.
Survey for sure.
Now, for since you done plants, for plants that is.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cesar, for that. So yeah, just as Dr. Veronica said, there's still really more to be done. She has done her part on plants, so we really need more expertise, more hands on the ground to also probably unravel what these Chasimba rocks could be hosting in there. And I'm happy that we've also been joined by Laban, your audience. So yeah, Laban, you could also be having more tasks to do in Chasimba to unearth what is there. Thank you very much, Jesse, for the question. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Sanka.
Okay, my question is, since Dr. Veronica has done the plant assessment, could there be a checklist? And if it is there, where can we get it?
Yeah, there's a checklist for coastal forests of Kenya, and that specifies where it's found. It's online. We published it in 2020, and you can check it there.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I actually see some more comments in the chat box. Dave Hilliard, as a botanist, have you read Braiding Sweetgrass or Catherine Moss, both by Robin Wall Marrero, also a botanist?
I've not read about moss and sweet grasses because I've mostly specialized on other taxus, but I'll take a look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that'll really be good. How from Google? It's a huge home to birds with the tall caves. And so, yeah.
It's very possible.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just that the information is not out there. So, and if you're a zoologist, you need to do something about it. Yeah, and because if the mining goes ahead and be done, it means that we might lose some of the animal species that exist there and nobody knows about. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, probably maybe our mammal committee will do something to tell us more about these birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are highly recommending it to all persons, not just botanists, in the title that is just shared in there. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone still with a question? Feel free to ask. Yeah, Ochola Franklin, is there a social impact assessment on the impact the tree nursery has had on clean energy utilization by the locals?
No, we don't have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ochola is not yet in.
It's not
so
yet
probably it's-
in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any other question from anyone? Yes, Fla, go ahead.
Yes, in addition, Dr. Veronica mentioned that there were a lot of findings by the archaeology department of the museum. So from what I understand, I have not been there myself, but from what I understand, there are recent and very ancient artifacts found in the caves, so that are important to our culture, our history, our knowledge, and that should also be emphasized to the public and the government.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much Fla, for the addition. Dave Hilliard, hi. Hi, Dave. Your hand is up. You have something to say? Dave, kindly unmute. Yeah, I think we can't hear you. Dave, can you hear us? Okay, maybe there's a technical issue with this sound. Anyone else who has something to add? Any other question before we bring the session to an end? Okay, Dave is saying it's not muted. Okay, try to speak, Dave, if we can hear you, if we can hear you. Okay, we can't hear him. I think it's a technical issue. There's a question from John Kino, just wondering if the land is privately owned, how was the permit to mine given?
What I hear is that the mining company tried to buy it from the local community. The part of which they've bought it, but there are issue whereby some have not agreed to sell their land. But I hear that they bought the land already from
The local community.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure. Yeah.
So I think Giru, just to say thank you. I really enjoyed it. Thank you. Sorry, I don't know why you can't hear me. Okay, that's Dave, and indeed we can't really hear him. Okay, Ochola Franklin, any clean energy alternative initiatives to supplement the apiaries and nurseries given the time taken for the project?
Yeah, so far we were just funded to do restoration and establish apiary, but there is need to start doing the briquettes, supporting the local community to start making the briquettes, which will be the alternative of charcoal that could really help to sell and use in their homes as well. They will generate an income from it.
Yeah, that will really. Okay, and Carlos Nyakuto is asking, probably was there any public participation? Maybe the community actually won the money.
I have not heard of any. When we talk to the local community about it, some said they were advised to just take the money and now refuse with the ownership, but we are not sure if there is any ownership that was done. If public participation was done.
Okay, yeah, and Caroline Muthoni, the ownership of Chasimba Rock is not clear.
Yes, most of them, they are owned by its family. It's no specific person who owns it, and therefore you find that they have to come together as a family to sell it. And you find some have agreed to take these are quite an issue with the ownership in some cases. But you find that there is a family that they will come together and agree, the others that are still disagreeing, which could help the situation.
Yeah, so Dave Hilliard, if you really had a question, maybe because we can't hear you, you can type your question in the chat box, and we will be able to read it out. They compensate the locals in any way besides land buying, that is schools, hospitals, maybe these facilities?
None that I've seen or heard of.
None that has come up.
Yeah.
And Carlos, how long are they seeking to mine? Do you know, maybe any idea?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Sangha, will you be having any idea of this question?
Okay, from the mining license, they haven't yet got it from the Ministry of Mining, so we don't know the specific time which they want to mine, but mostly they do mine until the raw material is exhausted. So we are yet to understand how long they are going to be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the response. And Dave Hilliard has just dropped what he wanted to say. Just wanted to say that the books by Robin Wall Kimmerer are not just about sweetgrass or Moses, but are fascinating books about the wisdom of botany combined with science. They are fantastic reads, very worth reading. Thank you very much, Dave. And Wincat, the main rock outcrop is not privately owned. However, the land surrounding the rocks are privately owned by the different families. Thank you for that. Okay, Carlos, because by the look of things, our government will still approve it. That's how they are. But we just have to ensure that there is proper plan to rehabilitate the land, though it won't be the same.
Definitely, it will not be the same.
It will not be the same.
It will not be the
lost a
same.
lot.
Yes, a lot of valuable species. And again, there are some species that survive in the rock crevices.
Yes.
Once they mine the rocks, where will they survive? So definitely we lose a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
It can never be the same.
true. I agree. Okay. One last from Chola Franklin. Had they done exploration, so they just opted to start mining on the go?
From the report that I saw, I don't know if there is a newer report or a recent one. And when I read on the botanical exploration that they had done, they said the land is composed of just few cashew nuts and invasive species that really made us sad as scientists and as botanists, because how can they just say that the land composed of few cashew nuts?
Exactly, and all the findings that you've come out there is really, very diverse. Well, okay. Thank you very much to all who have attended this particular presentation today, which has really been very interactive, very educative. So if there is no other question, maybe, I see one from Ochola Franklin. Economic benefits of the endemic species we intend to save. I missed this. So do you have anything to say about that?
We've not commercialized, of course, it's our natural heritage. There's nothing that has been commercialized, but we were just looking at the benefits at large. And we've seen that some species are becoming potential antibiotics. In the case of Croton chinodoensis, they just discovered a very important phytochemical compound that is working better than most antibiotics against some two specific bacteria. So again, for the local communities, it's helping them, and especially them propagating the threatened species, they are able to sell to different organizations and make something out of it. And we thought, because the government had given a directive of propagating about 2 billion tree species by the end of 2030, we thought if we establish nurseries for the local community, they will be able to propagate these species and sell them to different organizations that are working to restore different degraded areas.
Thank you for the response. Okay, so maybe we can still take one or two more questions as the speaker also shares with us her contacts, the email address on how you can further reach out to her. Yeah. So any other question from anyone? Any comment? Any closing remarks before we call it a day?
Okay, I have something to say.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, what I can just ask or request is that let us all stand for Chasimba. I hope if we join hands and have one voice, we can indeed help to save Chasimba. So I just ask everyone to come on board and help in saving Chasimba. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. We will really. Hey, any other question? Yeah, there's one that has come in also from Franklin is really very interactive here. Is Kenya Pharmaceutical and Poison Board interested in the antibiotic or collaborating?
Personally, I'm not a phytochemist person. I was just sharing on how the values of some of these species and their potential in future. So it's not something that I'm doing as a person. I'm just a conservationist and a botanist.
Okay, thank you very much for responding to that. I have already shared. Yes, go ahead.
May I add to that any new plants, new bacteria that we find has the potential of being useful in future. That's why we want to avoid extinction. We don't know the value of these plants, both in giving us joy, like the African violets, and also possible usefulness as medicines in future. So any plant, any life form is worth saving.
True. Thank you very much for that addition. Hey, we have anyone with any other question, any addition before we bring the session to a close? Okay, maybe you are parting shot, Dr. Veronicah.
Yeah, so I want to thank you for having me and thank you for our audience for their questions. Yeah, if anyone out there has a way of helping this beautiful limestone, kindly let's join hands and protect our heritage. It's a beautiful place like no other that can be found elsewhere. So let's join hands and help protect our natural heritage. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Veronicah, for taking us through today's presentation. It has really been very educative. As I said before, it has been an eye-opener, and we really now understand that the biodiversity value of the Chasimba rocks. Thank you very much, and we look forward to also having you on board in some times to come. We still talk on this topic more. Thank you very much, everyone, for creating time to join us today. It has really been lovely afternoon. I see out there here, Nairobi is quite sunny and really, really hot, but that's really been very amazing, fascinating, and interesting being with you today in our virtual forum. So from where we are, we really wish you the very best and have a great weekend ahead. Though this is quite early, but tomorrow is a Friday. So thank you very much, and we look forward to yet another virtual talk in the month of February. I've been your moderator, Richard Kipngeno, and bye for now. Thank you very much.